Your first phase is the heels phase, which is really a real grunt, true grit, determination, a lot of physical ability. I never, when I had these questions quite often saying, what percentage is mental, what percentage is physical? I don't see it like that. I can't do this without this. You know what I mean? Everything starts here, everything. It's so important to understand that the brain gives up way before the body. It's a self-preservation system. And once you understand that, you've got a lot more potential. And initially, that phase is to weed out those people who really haven't got that sort of mental robustness to get through that real grunt stage. So that's 2 weeks on the mountains. Anyone that passes that, you lose a lot of people on that. You lose probably, I'd say 60% of the course on those 2 weeks. And then should you be successful from that, you then go away to the jungle for 6 weeks. 4 weeks of that, you're fully immersed for 28 days right in the jungle. Your flesh starts to rot. You get trench foot. The only luxury you really have is a toothbrush, and then you have all your fighting kit, your weapon, and everything else. The jungle is trying to kill you. The directing staff are trying to kill you. It's such a battle, and I think it's such an amazing environment to test the skills of a soldier, because before you can even start to think about the tactics of soldiering, you have to make sure that your personal admin, whether that's yourself or your kit, like your weapon and everything else, you have to take care of that before you even think about soldiering. And it's a brilliant environment to test that, test that sort of self-admin, if you want to call it that. Once you pass the jungle, you are pretty much, they kind of know that there's a 80% chance of you passing that course. And at that point, they start to invest in you as a person. At that point, they start to train you in skills, preparing you to fit into your team. I always say this, that Special Forces selection doesn't train you to be a Special Forces soldier per se. It more or less trains you to be able to fit into your team, to then start the real training as a Special Forces operator. So yeah, that point, the jungle phase, you've then started doing all your sort of building assault skills, helicopter skills, demolition skills, radio communication, all Morse code, everything, medical, the whole lot. And then the last phase, which is the hardest phase of all, I thought, which was the escape and evasion. And that is the final test of a man's mental robustness, I suppose. You can't predict anything because you don't know what's going on in here at the end of the day, until that very point where, 36 hours of I'm not going to call it torture. It's mental torture. It's not physical torture as such, but it is the hardest thing because, and people say, oh, well, it's just, it's not real, but there's a lot at stake. And when you've had that sleep deprivation, you can say one wrong word and everything you've trained up to that point is just gone. They can say no at that point.